I think one of the great gifts of this movement into neuroscience is that we can see things that were, physically see things that were not previously observable. When I was an undergraduate at Kansas State University back in the late 60s, early 70s, a long time ago, we talked about the brain being a black box because we could not see inside of it. We could see what went in and we could see what came out. So we knew what the input was, we saw what the behavior was, and so our scientists in those days theories about what must be the mechanisms in the brain that accounted for that. And interestingly enough, a lot of times it now appears they were pretty accurate, but in many ways they were very inaccurate at times too. So where we are today in education is, I think, just like therapy or child development or pediatricians or whatever, for the first time ever, we can see the mechanisms as they are being built, and we can see how they work. And so the an analogy, I think, has been probably a little bit unfair for parents and teachers historically, because they couldn't see. But if you have a child that is missing a hand, and you are harshly punishing them because they're not writing with their right hand, because that's the one we think we're supposed to use. And there was a time where children did have their left hand tied behind their back by many teachers because they thought that being left-handed was actually an indication of a problem. In some cases, they thought it was brain damage. Well, we know it's a normal variant now. But when we begin to realize that there are circumstances that cause the behavior that up till now were unseen, we now realize that what we really need to do is to help a lot of these children create new experiences, new connections, build neural networks that for whatever reason didn't get built. And that's part of what I told you is going to be, I think, the miracle of the future, is that we can move to a position of understanding and compassion and caring and support, when before we maybe at times, and I'm not picking on teachers, I would just say adults, because we all do it, is that we see that as aberrant, willful, negative behavior, and it may not be. And so I think as teachers begin to learn more and more, and we discover better ways to go about dealing with those, we may actually do a better job in working with children. I think we also will begin to have greater admiration for what a child was willing and able to do given the circumstances in which they were doing it. So I think there's a very bright future in this for us.